Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger with an exciting new story of real life in the Old West. At the age of 34, a young officer from Indiana was made a major general in the Union Army. It was the highest rank then given, and he was the youngest man ever to achieve it. But as they say, the higher you get, the further you have to fall. General Wallace was blamed for the near disaster which the Union forces experienced at the Battle of Shiloh. He claimed it was only a scapegoat. These accusations hung heavy on his heart. But later events faced him with his greatest challenge and darkened his life like a shadow on the window. In August of 1878, on his 16th annual return to the battlefield at Shiloh, General Wallace was still reliving the combat, refiguring what he should have or might have done, still suffering the dishonor he'd endured there. But it was here at Shiloh that Lew Wallace was summoned by his old friend, President Rutherford B. Hayes, to become governor of the lawless New Mexico Territory. Arriving at Santa Fe with his ailing son Henry, General Lew Wallace prepared to make the territory of New Mexico a better place to live, both for its inhabitants and his wife Susan, whom he left behind in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Sorry, Father. Maybe we could find somebody with a card and they can...
If no one was on hand to meet us, I doubt if anyone will risk being friendly to us now.
Why is everyone ignoring us?
Shiloh, son, Shiloh. They're probably hoping that they can persuade the bungler of Shiloh to turn around and go home before he bungles the job of governor.
But everybody's forgotten Shiloh except you, Father.
Well, what else could it be? Say, that must be the governor's mansion there, Henry.
Palace of the Governor. Some palace.
Well, at least it proves that they have a sense of humor. You know something? I have an idea we're going to need ours before we're through. Come on, let's go.
Your predecessor left last night for San Francisco. Discretion being the better part of valor.
Well, apparently you two gentlemen are the only Santa Fe people indiscreet enough to talk to me.
Sheriff Garrett and I are from Lincoln City. Came down purposely to talk to you. Houston Chapman.
Mr. Chapman?
The only honest lawyer in the territory except you, General.
Governor. My son, Henry, gentlemen.
I'll help with the bags.
The back door to the executive mansion is open.
Oh, thank you, Sheriff.
All right, sir.
Pat accidentally leaned against the door this morning, as we thought there were some papers in there we needed.
You accidentally went in.
That's right.
Well, it doesn't look as though the last governor was a very good housekeeper.
The cleanliness of the room measures up to his politics. If what I heard is true.
It is.
Well, I guess I'll go have a look at the living quarters.
Well, I take it that you two gentlemen didn't find what you came after.
We might have been a little high-handed, but we were hoping that by the time you got here, we'd have pieced together enough evidence to put you on the right track straight off. How much have you heard about the Lincoln County War?
Well, only the two factions are fighting it out for what they hope will be a complete monopoly of all New Mexico's ranching lands and natural resources.
With each employing professional killers, with crooked officials playing patsy with both sides.
It'll take me a couple of days to grasp things, Mr. Chapman. In the meantime, you can tell the clerk of the court that I order all records be made available to you.
Thank you.
I'll put it in writing if you like.
I doubt he could read. I'll take a run over there. That'll fill you in a little.
You've been probably wondering why Mr. Chapman and I have in such a hurry to see you, Governor Wallace. There's a conspiracy to keep you in complete ignorance long enough to settle things.
And naturally, both sides are confident of victory.
Uh-huh. They have arsenals large enough to stage a battle as big as Shiloh, and... Well, I'm sorry, Governor.
That's all right. I'll declare martial law if I have to, Sheriff. But even that won't do any good unless I do a little house cleaning first.
Well, I can give you a list of the known killers that I've arrested, only to have them turned free by court order. And Mr. Chapman, he can give you the name of each so-called respectable businessman, rancher, and territorial official.
It's Chapman.
All right, I'll shoot the first man that tries to leave. Come on, line up. Come on, get down out of there. Get away from him. Line up, come on.
Who saw the killers? I asked a question. Every one of you must have witnessed the murder. Now I want an answer. Now look, I'm Lew Wallace, new governor of this territory. And you may as well understand right now that the days of lawlessness are over in New Mexico. You, what did you see?
Not a thing, Governor.
Do you know how many years you can get for withholding evidence in a murder case?
Now, I ain't withholding nothing. I was looking the other way.
You'll get nothing out of Parker, Governor. He's an old hand at this sort of thing.
2 or 3 men fired at him. What did they look like? What did you see?
No hablo inglés, señor.
Pues, voy a preguntar en español. ¿Quién lo ha matado?
No sé.
You can ask him in a dozen languages. And all the known Indian dialects, that won't do any good. I'll see that they get locked up, but I doubt if that'll make them talk either. Everybody's on somebody's payroll or scared out of their wits. All right, come on, move out there.
Paula? Oh, Henry, I thought you were asleep.
I was just wondering when you were coming to bed.
As soon as I finish this chapter.
But it's after midnight, and it must have been close to dawn before you got to bed last night.
Well, I certainly can't spare time for my writing during the day. I got a long way to go on that book yet.
Well, what's the hurry?
I'm not an old man yet, Henry, but the years are passing, and I'm determined to be remembered when I'm gone.
Of course you'll be remembered.
For your mother's sake, and for yours as well as my own, I'd like it to be as the man who created the story of Ben-Hur. Not the blunderer of Shiloh or the impotent governor of New Mexico.
But you're accomplishing things here.
I can't even find a witness to the killing of my first friend in the territory.
Well, what's happened to Sheriff Garrett?
Well, he's got his hands full in Lincoln County. I've got others on the job, not that they haven't any luck. You know, if we could arrest and convict Chapman's killers, it'd serve notice on every outlaw in this territory that from now on, New Mexico...
What is it? Who's it from?
Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid?
He swears that this is one of the guns that killed Chapman. That he'll testify against Chapman's murderers if I agree to his terms.
Which I will state to you if you will meet me in an hour at the old parish shack, which is out from town about... Father?
This is the one break that I've been praying for.
But he says to come alone and unarmed.
Well, I'm leaving the gun there.
Keep your hands away from your sides. Come in.
I'm Governor Wallace.
I'm Bonnie.
Billy the Kid.
Now, I might look like a kid. Don't get any ideas.
I came here to find out yours. The conditions you mentioned in your note.
You promised me a full pardon for everything I ever done. And I'll go into court and give you an eyewitness account of Chapman's murder.
My word enough?
Yeah, your word's good enough.
Agreed.
It was 3 of the Murphy gang. Jim Dolan, Bill Matthews, William Campbell. I can tell your boys where to pick them up.
They'll have to arrest you, too. I can't pardon you until you've stood trial.
I got that part all figured out.
Oh?
You see, I especially don't want anybody to think that I'm spilling what I know willingly. So we'll arrange a fake battle and I'll let your lawmen capture me.
Why are you doing this, Billy?
Anybody would do it for a full pardon.
You know I haven't got a shred of evidence against you that could stand up in court. Why?
Because I think them 3 had their hand in another killing. John Turnstile. He gave me the only honest job I ever had. My whole life, he was the only person that ever treated me decent.
I'll try to treat you decent, Billy.
You better, Mr. Governor. Because to me, a friend's a friend and an enemy's an enemy. You try any kind of double cross, and you'll find no matter how many changes you've made in New Mexico so far, I can still get away with murder.
And I will faithfully discharge my duties to the very utmost of my abilities. So help me God.
Congratulations, Judge Bristol.
Thanks to you, Governor.
It'll be a pleasure to have a man like you on the bench.
Well, I'll probably make my share of mistakes, but at least I'll try to be impartial, whether the man on the other side of the bench is Pat, or you, or Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid, say. Sheriff Garrett and I have to get over to the jail again and see Billy. I'll sign those later, Henry. You'll have to excuse me till later in the day, gentlemen. I can't see anybody else this morning.
Does that go for me, too?
Mother!
Susan!
Henry! Oh, dear! Oh, no.
Oh, pardon me, gentlemen. My wife.
That better be who she is.
I'll wait for you outside, Governor.
I'll see you later, gentlemen. Susan, it's wonderful to see you. But what brings you here at a time like this?
Well, now, let me see. A sleeping car as far as Pueblo, and then the narrow gauge to Trinidad, and a buckboard the rest of the way. The driver's outside waiting to see where my luggage goes.
Oh, you're not staying, Susan. Ike was right, you know. This is no place for you or Henry.
Oh, Ike has a wonderful job lined up for Henry. He could take the buckboard as far as Trinidad if you wanted to go back east.
Susan, Henry is making his own decisions these days.
And I've already made mine. I'm staying. Go ahead and visit your desperado. Oh, looks like I'll have plenty to keep me busy before you get back.
Yeah, that's right. Half of the guns found in Murphy's warehouse are from Fort Stanton.
What was the name of the man who sold them?
Ritchie, yeah, that's it, Sergeant Ritchie. He worked in the quartermaster's office. Quartermaster knew what he was doing.
His name?
Enough to turn a man's stomach. Cigars. Better food than I eat. Liquor, even. He ain't prisoner. He's a guest to the governor.
Well, tell you the truth, Ollinger, I do think Wallace is coddling him too much. But he has gotten a lot of information out of the kid, though.
What about the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Dudley? Ever hear anything to the effect that he knows?
He's a right good.
Well, my wife baked him. Brought him all the way from Indiana. Have some more.
You can take my word for it. Wallace doesn't like that kid any more than you do. He just has to act chummy with him until he learns all he can from him.
Ollinger, Billy'd like another cup of coffee, if you don't mind.
The pot's empty, but he's more than welcome to mine.
Hi, Billy. can only get so much out of him at one time.
Well, at least most of it's checked out so far, isn't it?
Hey, Hollinger, how about that cup of coffee?
Enjoy it while you can. The hotel service ain't gonna last much longer.
What do you mean?
That as soon as the governor gets all the information he wants out of you, you're gonna be treated just like any other prisoner.
Wallace wouldn't double-cross me.
You think he lied to you or to his pal Garrett?
Is that what he said to Garrett? That he was just stringing me along?
That's right, Sonny. You'll learn.
I already have. So will Wallace. You tell him, Mr. Governor, that if I don't get him, one of my boys will.
I will pay $1,000 to any person or persons who will capture William Bonney, alias the Kid, and deliver him to any sheriff of New Mexico Territory. Signed, Lew Wallace, Governor of New Mexico Territory. Did you have to put it on such a personal basis?
Well, there's been a lot of loose talk about that agreement I made with Billy.
I've heard some of it.
I thought maybe that'd help set the record straight. I did promise to pardon him for his earlier crimes, but I certainly didn't give him any license to keep on killing. And I'll be happy to testify against him personally when he comes to trial.
If he's caught, and if you're still around.
Meaning?
That he's leading Garrett and his men a merry chase, heading away from Santa Fe, then circling back this way. Garrett finally found out why.
All right, why?
Because the Kid has seen one of these too. And he's sworn that if it's the last thing he ever does, he's gonna kill you before they take him. Garrett sent me word.
Well, why you?
For the same reason I asked you to come here, Lou. So your family wouldn't hear anything about it.
Well, Henry's going back home. And in almost 30 years of married life, I've never been able to keep a secret from Susan.
No sense in making a target of yourself.
Oh, he's probably halfway to the Mexican border by this time.
Servants could hardly wait to leave here tonight. According to them, he was seen near here early this morning.
Rumors, rumors. If he was here, why would Garrett be in Lincoln County trying to pick him up?
Lou, we've got to get out of here.
I want you to leave, Susan. I've been very concerned about you.
I said we, and I don't mean next week or even tomorrow. I mean now, tonight, Lou.
Susan.
I've got a feeling in my bones that he's going to be here tonight, and you haven't even put a guard posted outside.
Well, the men I can trust are needed someplace else, and besides, this time I think your bones are.
Lou.
It's only a piece of tumbleweed being blown across the plaza.
I'm sorry. Is Ben-Hur really more important to you than your own life?
I told you it was only a piece of tumbleweed.
This time, yes, but I still
All
have a
right,
feeling.
yes, it is more important. I've got to get this finished, Susan. Leaving here wouldn't mean that I'd be safe from a killer like the Kid. It'd only mean that I'd be wasting valuable writing time trying to escape. And if I die, this last chapter half finished, it might never be published. I'd still be remembered as the blunderer of Shiloh. This way, I may be remembered as the author of something that I feel is worthwhile.
Shiloh.
Yes, Shiloh still.
But even if you were to blame at Shiloh, you more than made up for it at Cincinnati, at Winchester, at the Anderson...
Susan, please! I got to get it finished.
Susan, when did you come here?
I never left.
Look, darling. It's finished. Ben-Hur is finished.
Oh, Lou, that's wonderful.
Now, if anything should happen to me, I want you to send that manuscript to Mr. Joseph Henry Harper, Franklin Square, New York City.
Pat, you all right, sir?
Ma'am? I'm sorry it had to turn out like this, but I had to take a life.
Oh, I wouldn't feel too bad about it, Governor. You see, I'm afraid you've gotten a little rusty with a gun. You didn't come within a mile of him. It was Ed was here who got him. Shot him in the back, the way to shot you. And it wasn't Billy the Kid. He couldn't make it. It was one of his boys, like he promised.
Billy's still alive?
No, ma'am. That's what I was coming over here to tell you. I killed Billy the Kid at Fort Sumner 2 nights ago.
It seems a shame that you're leaving, now that you've got things just about cleaned up.
Yeah, the job's just about done. Now I'll have to go back to the private practice of law or something to help me pay off my debts.
Your book's still not doing so good, eh?
No, in almost 7 months, it only paid me $300.
If it was only a matter of money, Lou wouldn't be so disappointed, but we both had such high hopes for the book.
Sure you don't want me to drive you to the station?
Oh, thanks very much, Judge. Susan and I like to walk across the plaza for the last time. At least we don't have to ride in a buckboard for 2 days going home. Goodbye, Judge.
Goodbye, Governor.
Susan.
Lou!
Well, what is it, Susan? Another message from the White House to atone for my sins?
No, it's from Mr. Harper. He can't explain it, but suddenly there's come a tremendous demand for Ben-Hur. They can't keep up with the editions. He predicts it will be the most widely read story in America. Isn't it wonderful news?
Wonderful seems like a pretty weak word, Susan.
The old wound stopped hurting.
Completely. For which I give thanks to you and to Ben-Hur.
This is a first edition of Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. The edition was sold so poorly at first. Since that time, over 4 million copies have been published. And the phenomenally successful play and movies based on the book give further assurance that its author, General Lew Wallace, will long remain unforgotten.